I know I say this almost every week, so it's starting to lose its meaning, but this week has been another really, really crazy week in AI, and most of it was on one single day, the 23rd. There was just a ton of AI news, mostly led because of the Microsoft Build event that happened this week. I got a lot of tabs open up here and a lot I want to show you, so I'm going to try to break it down as quickly as possible and give you the TLDR for the week in AI. Let's start with Monday, May 22nd, when Meta announced their massively multilingual speech AI. This new technology allows for speech to text in over 1,100 different languages. And if you compare it to the model output that the AI is figuring out with the human transcription, it's pretty much spot on every single time. These models expand text-to-speech and speech-to-text technology from around 100 languages to more than 1,100 languages. Also on the 22nd, this image started circulating all over social media around an explosion that was reported near the Pentagon. The news was quickly shared by a bunch of prominent news outlets, which briefly caused a downturn in the stock market. Now, anybody who's been working in AI for any time now could look at this image and find all sorts of issues with it, but the fact that it was getting retweeted by other news outlets, I think actually speaks more to the harm that the news media can create than it does to the harm that AI images can create. Because this image, when you look at it, this could have been done in Photoshop 15 years ago. This isn't something unique to AI, but the fact that all the news outlets started sharing it before it was 100% confirmed shows more of an issue with news media than it does with AI, but that's just my opinion. Now, moving on to May 23rd. This was the day this week where there was just news article after news article after news article. I actually wrote a tweet about it, and here's the quick breakdown. Adobe Photoshop adds native AI. Google announces AI-powered advertising. Google launches images in Bard. Kyber launches storyboards. Microsoft adding AI to Windows OS. Microsoft adding AI review summaries to App Store. Bing becoming default browser in ChatGPT. ChatGPT plugins now work in Bing. Microsoft introduces Fabric for analytics, GitHub Copilot for Windows Terminal, and I'm probably even missing some news. Just another Tuesday in the world of AI. It was a big, big day, and I'm going to break down a handful of these things real quick, starting with the fact that Adobe has added AI image generation using Firefly to Photoshop. Now, if you have an Adobe subscription and you have Photoshop or the Adobe Creative Cloud, here's how you can access the AI features in your own version of Photoshop. Come into the Creative Cloud desktop, click on Apps at the top. Over on the left sidebar, come down here and click on Beta Apps. And then make sure that you install Photoshop Beta, because the AI features are currently in the beta version. You'll see an install button next to it. Once it's installed, you can open the beta version of Photoshop. Once you're in Photoshop, you can bring any image in, and watch this. I can select an area of the sky here, and this new button pops up that says Generative Fill. I can click in here and I can put a jumbo jet in the sky. Click generate, and I now have a jumbo jet in the sky. It gives me 3 options that I can click through and pick which one I prefer. That one looks the best to me. And then over here on the right side, you can see that it added it as a new layer, so I can hide this later or bring it back in. I can also zoom out on the image, come over here to my crop tool, add some extra area to the image here, add some extra image to the area here, use my magic wand tool to select this area. I could leave the generative fill blank here, click generate, and watch as it just adds to my existing image that's here. It gave me 3 options. Here's looking at the house and the jumbo jet through another window. Here it is as like a framed picture on a piece of wood or something. And you can see it gave me 3 options to extend the image. You can see here's another example here of a mountain on a lake. Here's where they added generative fill, and it actually continued the image along there. A bunch of colorful shirts on a rack, now a colorful painting above the rack. This has really made compositing in Photoshop so much easier for anybody to do, and this is only going to get better from here. All right, so moving on to the big event that happened on the 23rd, which was the Microsoft Build event. Now, this event was mostly geared towards developers. There was a lot of talk about various APIs and SDKs and industry jargon about what people can now build with Microsoft tools, but there were a handful of really cool innovations and breakthroughs that were talked about at this event. Starting with Windows Copilot, which is basically AI, ChatGPT, built directly into Windows now. So you don't even need to go to Bing to use the chat anymore once this is rolled out. You can actually just have ChatGPT always available at the operating system level inside of Windows. At the event, they showed a really cool demo of this that I shared on my Twitter, but I'm going to go ahead and share it with you real quick here.
Here I am. in a coding project on my PC, but I want to configure my PC to help me be more creative and more productive. I now just come down here to the taskbar, I click on that, and now we'll pop up the Windows Copilot on the right. This side pane here will be consistent across every app that you use on your PC. And just like with Bing Chat, I can now ask it questions like, how can I adjust my system to get work done? And not only will I get a bunch of great suggestions, but watch this. I can now, with one click, take action on those suggestions. For example, I can put it into focus mode. Developers really like dark mode. This is a suggestion here for dark mode. So with one click, I'm now here on the dark side. And to really get going, I want to get that coding playlist going. So I'll pull the plugin from Spotify and say, give me a great coding playlist, and now I'll have it ready to go.
Now, another thing that they announced at the Microsoft Build event is that when you're using ChatGPT, it's now using the Bing search engine by default. You'll notice now, if you have ChatGPT Plus and you have the Browse plugin enabled, it now says Browse with Bing. So you're actually using Bing when you're using the ChatGPT Browse function. Again, if you don't see these features here and you are a ChatGPT Plus member, make sure you come down to your settings here, go to beta features, and make sure these features are turned on. Now, they also mentioned that the browsing feature inside of ChatGPT is also coming to the free tier soon.
We are excited to be able to, it's going to launch in ChatGPT Plus immediately and quickly coming even to the free tier. This is just the start of what we plan to do with our partners in OpenAI to bring the best of Bing to the ChatGPT experience.
So we're already aware of the plugins that are inside of ChatGPT, but they announced at the event that they're also going to have these plugins inside of Windows Copilot, inside of Bing Chat, inside of everywhere. So anybody who's developing plugins for ChatGPT, these plugins will also work inside of Copilot and inside of the Bing Chat as well.
We're also excited to announce that we're going to bring interoperability between ChatGPT and Bing for plugins. So you write them once, and they're going to run everywhere. So as you can see here in ChatGPT, I've got Zillow and Instacart enabled, but I want to show them to you here in Bing Chat. So we'll flip over, and you can see again, I've got the same plugins now in both Bing Chat and in ChatGPT. And what we're going to show you now is I'll do a search here for houses in Chicago, and I can ask for a set of criteria, learn a little bit about the neighborhoods, and now I can automatically call Zillow by saying, hey, give me 3 houses in a certain price range that meet my criteria. And what you can see is now I get these great options, and I'm also going to get all of the other great things you get with Bing, like helpful city guides and maps and prompts.
And then here's him demonstrating Copilot inside of Word, also again using plugins. Now, they did demonstrate Copilot inside of Microsoft Word at a previous event, but this is the first time we're seeing it actually taking advantage of these plugins as well.
Now I'm in Microsoft Word, and I'm going to need some help for drafting a legal contract, and I need some help with California law. So I'm going to call 3 plugins from Thomson Reuters to edit this document. First thing is I'll go into Copilot, pull it up, and I'll say, hey, help me understand how to edit the limitation of liability using the Practical Law plugin. It'll read the document, find the paragraph, and make that change. Next, I want to know if this is enforceable under California law. So I'll call the Westlaw plugin that will do that analysis, and it'll come back and give me an analysis about it from a legal perspective. And finally, since we're making lots of changes, I'd like to know the summary of all of these changes. And with Document Intelligence, I get a simple table that shows you all of those changes in an easy-to-read format. By joining the power of Microsoft 365 Copilot in Word with the support of these real powerful plugins like Thomson Reuters, now you can draft a legal contract in so much more powerful way.
So this is really interesting to me because this kind of technology with these plugins in the future could really reduce our need for hiring contract lawyers and things like that if a lot of the AI plugins can just do it for us. Now, somebody on Twitter did make a good point that those tools are used by law firms right now who actually pay huge licensing fees to use those tools. I'm not certain that the exact examples that he gave in that video are going to be plugins that are free for anybody to use. We don't know the cost of using those plugins now, but it really does sort of bring the ability to solve these kinds of legal problems to the masses. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out and how some of these companies that are making these plugins further monetize the plugins. Now, there was a ton of other announcements and demonstrations that they gave during this Microsoft Build event, but again, most of them were geared towards developers and used a lot of technical language and showed people building stuff behind the scenes. So if you're a developer yourself and you want to see how you could leverage some of this technology for maybe the tools that you're building, I highly recommend watching some of the recaps on Microsoft's YouTube channel. Also in Microsoft news on the 23rd, they announced that Microsoft is adding AI-generated app review summaries to the Microsoft Store. And I can only imagine we're going to see this kind of thing in the Apple App Store pretty soon as well. It seems like a fairly easy thing for AI to do right now, to do a sort of sentiment analysis on all of the reviews of a certain tool. And here's a quick glance at what we can expect that to look like. Above the reviews, we'll see something like this. Reviews suggest that PhoneLink is a must-have app for increasing productivity and multitasking. Users appreciate the convenience of being able to view and respond to text from their PC in real time, use iMessage from Windows 11, manage photos, and send messages from a PC. The app is easy to use and provides helpful design features for making calls and messaging. And as we're so used to these days, Google and Microsoft are going back and forth. So of course, Google also got into the game and announced some news on the 23rd as well, albeit not nearly as groundbreaking news, but something to note. Google's going to be introducing AI-powered ads. Essentially, if you're going to run a Google ad campaign, it's going to ask you some questions about your business, including what makes your products or service unique and what's your brand's personality. It'll allow you to generate your ad images directly with AI. You'll simply go into the ad platform, click a button that says help create my ad, and it will do most of the work for you in order to generate effective ad campaigns based on all of Google's data of what's worked for other advertisers. Also in Google News on the 23rd, Google announced that Bard will now include images in its responses. So if you go to Bard and you say something like, give me inspiration for landscaping for a small backyard, and click submit, you'll see that it'll now actually include images in some of its search results here. Or give me inspiration for short haircuts for a man with a beard. And we get an idea of what a man with a beard's haircut should look like. And that was rolled out to everybody that has access to Bard right now on the same day that Microsoft was doing this giant Microsoft Build event. And some other news that got completely overshadowed on the 23rd because of all the Microsoft, Google, and Adobe announcements. My good friend Angry Penguin over here on Twitter launched a bot inside of Discord that allows you to make 3D images. So imagine Midjourney, but for 3D objects. Simply type a prompt of what you want, for example, a rocket, and it generates a 3D asset of a rocket. I'll make sure this Twitter post is linked in the video below so you can check this out. This tiny URL here links directly to his Discord where you can get in and play around with it. And not only does it generate the 3D asset image here, you can actually have it send you the mesh directly to your DMs, and you can open it in something like Blender. On Wednesday of this week, we learned that the Opera browser is adding their own integrated AI called Aria directly inside of the browser. You can actually use this right now if you have the developer version of Opera 1, and it does use ChatGPT to help you search the web and collaborate with AI while looking for information on the web, generating text or code, or getting your product queries answered. Now on Thursday, OpenAI announced that they essentially want to crowdsource figuring out regulations for these chat models. They're launching a program to award 10 $100,000 grants to fund experiments in setting up a democratic process for deciding what rules AI systems should follow. They said, we are seeking teams from across the world to develop proof of concepts for a democratic process that could answer questions about what rules AI systems should follow. The governance of the most powerful systems, as well as decisions regarding their deployment, must have strong public oversight. At the moment, neither the US government or companies like OpenAI have any real idea of exactly how these regulations for the advancement of AI should be put into place. So companies like OpenAI are opening it up to the world and saying, hey, we will pay $100,000 grants to teams that can help figure this out for us. Should be interesting to see how this one plays out. Also on Thursday, Google announced that they're starting to open up access to new generative AI capabilities in search, and they offered 3 ways to try it out. If you want to try out the new Google search capabilities, you can go to labs.google.com/search to get on the waiting list, and they'll email you when you can start playing around with it. The 3 ways that they're allowing people to try it out are the search generative experience, the code tips, and the add to sheets. Personally, I don't have access to any of this yet, and I haven't messed with it myself, but once it starts to roll out, I'll be sure to make more videos about it. Also, if you remember, Stability.ai recently launched Reimagine inside of their Clip Drop app. Well, on Thursday the 25th, they announced ReimagineXL, which is their next gen version of Reimagine, which I'm guessing is better quality images. If you don't remember Reimagine, you can find it over at clipdrop.co, coming up to tools and coming to ReimagineXL. Essentially, you can drag and drop an image into here and it will try to generate a handful of additional images that are similar to the one that you originally dropped in. This is my original image, and here is the first image, the second image, and the third image that they generated that looks similar to my first one. Personally, I still think the first one is the best of the four, but it will reimagine images similar to the initial image, and it just got a slight upgrade with ReimagineXL. Also this week, NVIDIA stock grew by 25% in a single day due to earnings that were better than expected. You could see a stock chart here that was shared by my friend Rowan of just this insane day for NVIDIA. And not to toot my own horn here, but I posted this tweet back in January. Prediction: NVIDIA will rise to be one of the top 3, if not number 1 largest companies on the planet. P.S. They currently sit at number 11 if you're wondering. That was posted on January 3rd. Taking a peek here at the end of May, you can see since then they've jumped up to number 6. If I'm being totally honest with myself, I don't really see them getting into the top 3 because they have to reach market caps of over $2 trillion. But I would say top 4 is not out of the question anymore. I'll go ahead and wrap this video up today with a clip from the Wall Street Journal where Elon Musk says that AGI is a lot closer than most people realize.
We probably won't recognize society in 30 years. I do think we're fairly close. You asked me about artificial general intelligence. I think we're perhaps only 3 years, maybe 6 years away from it this decade. In fact, arguably, we are on the event horizon of the black hole that is artificial superintelligence.
And that's all I got for you today. And I actually record these on Thursdays, so there's a good chance that there's even more news on Friday that I didn't get to. But if it's anything real big, it'll make it into next Friday's news video. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you love nerding out about all of this AI news and all of the cool AI tools, make sure you check out futuretools.io. This is where I curate all of the cool AI tools that I come across. I add new tools every single day. I keep you up to date with the AI news. This is probably one of, if not the most up-to-date AI news resource on the entire internet. It's updated daily, and it's really the signal versus the noise. I only post the stuff that I think most people will find interesting about AI here. And if all of it's too overwhelming, you just want a weekly TLDR of what's happening in the AI world, sign up for my free newsletter by clicking this button right here. And every Friday, I'll just give you an overview of just 5 cool tools I came across this week, 3 or 4 news articles from the week, a few YouTube videos, and 1 cool way to make money with AI. It goes out every single Friday. And again, it's just that TLDR of the most important AI information from the week. You can find it over at futuretools.io. And again, if you want to stay in the loop with AI news and get more videos like this, if you want to learn about the latest research and see cool tech tutorials on how to use a lot of this AI stuff, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel, and I'll make sure more of this kind of stuff shows up in your newsfeed. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do really, really appreciate you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.